Hey everybody, welcome back. Another Envoy video for you. This time it is She-Hulk and the Fantastic Four rework. We're going to go through this pretty quickly. We've already got some of this information out there. There is some lore behind this for those of you confused. They did work together a little bit. There's some questions I've got about intent behind this, but I'm going to share with what we got, share you my thoughts, feelings, all that kind of stuff. But we've got her here. See if you think this is going to be something you want to invest in, dive into. We'll see. We'll see. I think she's probably going to have a spot for some teams in the future, but we'll just dive into this for now.
Bring me WolverThor!
I'm a part of a volunteer Fox Next Envoy program. I'm not an employee of Fox Next, nor am I an employee of Marvel. I do not receive any payments from either of these companies. The information that I was provided came directly from Fox Next through this Envoy program. However, any opinions, comments, or analysis of this information is strictly my own.
So we did get these videos showing kind of She-Hulk, the other two symbiotes. Just gives you an idea of what the stats are based on the tier, the level, the stars, all that kind of stuff. Gets to see the game model. She's flexing on you a bit there. I'll go through more later here. It goes through the abilities, which I'll let it kind of scroll through in case anybody kind of wants to pause and try to figure out the T4s. I'm not going to dive into the T4s on She-Hulk necessarily. I'm not sure she's going to necessarily be a very coveted character to start with. I think she's got some decent aspects to her, but I'm not really sure that it's going to be a game-breaking situation, given that she's going with Fantastic Four, which have been known as more of an offensive team in war and not necessarily a defensive team. And it seems like some of her abilities you can see there on war defense, that's kind of where she's modeled after. And the rework that we're going to dive into here in a little bit, you're going to see that there is some stuff there with war defense. So again, I've got this up here for you guys. Just if you want to pause it and kind of look at some of this stuff specifically, I'll go through the kit in a second. I'll flash it up on the screen so that you can see the percentages and all that. But this is showing you some of the real basics of those abilities as they kind of scroll through in the different upgrades. All right, so She-Hulk's abilities or traits. Hero, City, Bio, Protector, Metamorphosis. Bio again, tons of Bio. That's one more reason where it's like, okay, symbiotes or She-Hulk, we'll see. Basic Gamma Slam, attack primary target for 320% damage, apply defense down. That's pretty nice, okay. You can use either her special ultimate first, so it depends on the situation. Given that if she's on defense, she's going to use her ultimate, so keep that in mind. Her special is 4 out of 4, attack primary target for 340% damage, reduce speed bar by 40%, reduce speed bar for adjacent targets by 30%. Got a little Hawkeye action there going. Gain taunt plus heal for 30% of this character's max health. So her second ability on defense is going to be the one that gets her a taunt. Ultimate is controlled rage, 5 out of 5 energy. Attack primary target for 360% damage and apply stun. So depending on her speed and all that, she's going to be applying stun to somebody. Apply taunt to the most injured enemy, which is nice, so that way you can focus on somebody, I guess. A little War Machine-esque. On war defense, attack the target with the most damage for 360% damage, ignoring taunt and applying stun. So that part of war defense is great. So that way it's kind of like, okay, when you get to this ability, whoever the person with the most damage is, you're going to go hit them and apply stun. So pay attention to her focus. Apply taunt to the most injured enemy. So a whole bunch of taunt applications here to the enemy team. Her passive court order, got the lore in there for that. Pretty nice job, Scopely. On turn, heal self for 15% of this character's max health. Nice, some passive healing, which you need in war. On stealth, gain taunt plus heal self for 30% of this character's max health. Okay, so that's all about Invisible Woman. So when she gets stealth, she's getting taunt. So Invisible Woman's gonna, bring somebody up. Maybe she makes Thing, the one who stands out gets the deflects and all that. But in this case, it's when this happens, She-Hulk is going to give herself taunt and heal herself. So she's like, I'm here to protect people, which is nice, I suppose. But again, Invisible Woman typically uses that second turn. So it's like, okay, so there's nobody really taunting here at this point early on. Unless we see what happens with Invisible Woman and her rework, right? We'll check that out in a minute. When an enemy gain 10% damage per charge, we got to talk about charge here in a second. When an enemy attacks this character or a Fantastic Four ally, gain charge up to a maximum of 5. So as other people get hit, she's getting charges, which gives her more damage, which is great. On maximum charge, which is 5, transfer all negative effects from self and each Fantastic Four ally to the enemy with the most damage. So whenever she gets to 5, she's taking all of these negative effects and applying them somewhere. Again, pay attention to focus. Attack the enemy with the most damage for 200% damage, plus adjacent targets for 150% damage. Remove all charge. So that passive is going to be pretty nice. Passive damage we like. Just depends when she's building up those charges, as people are getting hit, and how many negative effects she's got on them and putting on someone else. On War Defense, gain 30% damage for self and all Fantastic Four allies. So, okay, that's not too bad. So she's given some additional damage to the Fantastic Four. We'll see how that shakes out. Before we get to the rest of Fantastic Four, let's at least check out She-Hulk stats. So She-Hulk stats, she comes in ranked 119th. If you're unfamiliar with what I do here, I basically have a giant spreadsheet that I rank everybody. I've got a baseline that you can see in blue there above, level 75, 7 yellow stars, 4 red stars, T14, 25% star tech. In this situation, I have to interpolate based on what we get from FoxNext/Scopely because it's not in MSF.gg yet, but typically it's in the right ballpark. So health-wise, she's got she comes in ranked 14th, which is fantastic. Love seeing that, 239k. Damage comes in at 54, which again, that's great. That's, prior to any specific passive debuff passes, which I really like. The armor, 43rd, keeps her alive longer. Great, that's awesome. Focus. It's terrible. 149. So all that stuff I was just talking about. If she can't land, it doesn't matter. So we'll see how that shakes out. I can't recall. I think landing taunt, I think that still requires focus, but I don't remember 100% on that. I have to, someone comment in the comments below if you remember. Come to the Discord. The link's in the description below. Let me know about that. Resistance, also not ranked very high, 130. Don't love that. And then atrocious speed, 88. Ranked 130th in the game. Yikes. That's bottom feeder. So her average rank across the board is 86. A little bit lower than Anti-Venom. You can see a little bit above her up here. So stat-wise, not loving it. I was really hoping to see a higher focus there. We'll see if the Fantastic Four had any focus rework. Let's jump into them. So Human Torch, the only difference here is honestly, he still gains the same offensive up. The She-Hulk allies also gain the offense up. That's the only difference in his special. In his passive, the only difference here that I'm seeing is that, again, it names She-Hulk in the in the passive. She-Hulk also gains the 30% damage, which is great. So those damage numbers we were talking about earlier are going up, which is great for a burst team, which you like. You want sustain for a war defense. That's all. That's the only reworks for Human Torch. Basically, just adding She-Hulk into the description. Mr. Fantastic, his ultimate. The only difference here that you can see as you kind of scroll through this is if She-Hulk is an ally on the ultimate, instead clear defense up on primary target and another enemy with the most armor. So he's clearing multiple defense ups if She-Hulk is an ally. And then you're still attacking for the same, you're attacking both targets for that amount of damage as opposed to just one. So that one's a little bit better. It's kind of nice. You still have the same focus and the same attack. His passive, it reads the same other than it's adding She-Hulk in the listed description for the additional focus and resistance. It is that 60% focus increase that he's always had. She-Hulk probably really needs that. Hopefully that helper applies that. We'll see. On self, and then on self and each Fantastic Four or She-Hulk ally's turn, you're applying Assist Now, which is you're used to, you know that. And then the same thing on turn of choosing random enemies to remove a positive effect. So really, it's about the big difference in Mr. Fantastic was his ultimate. You're now attacking 2 characters and clearing the defense up from 2 characters, one of them being the one with the most armor. Invisible Woman, her only change is in her passive. And we go through this as you see this on the screen, the old versus the new. The only change you can see is that it adds She-Hulk on an if an enemy gets attacked with, when an enemy attacks an ally with barrier, she attacks. She-Hulk gets added to that list. You gain max health to She-Hulk as well as the other allies. Same percentage. On war defense on spawn, if She-Hulk is an ally, gain defense up for 2 turns for self, She-Hulk, and all Fantastic Four allies. So there is a passive kind of gain defense up, but again, hopefully that helps them survive to get the barrier. Then everybody's kind of going, and then you get to the invis for Invisible Woman, which will make She-Hulk taunt. She-Hulk herself is not taunting. She's going to get the taunt from Invisible Woman's stealth, but the first ability that She-Hulk's going to use is her ultimate, which is not going to do anything for taunting, right? So her ability is not... Her special, she'll taunt when she gets to it, so that might sync up well considering how slow she is. So when you get to Invisible Woman, it's like, okay, she's stealth, then She-Hulk gets the taunt, and it's like, okay, she keeps that taunt, she keeps that taunt, and it's like, okay, then it gets to her special and she taunts again. So maybe it's getting to the point where you're like, oh great, Johnny can actually get to his ultimate. But again, on defense you want sustain, and there's no batteries here. So, you know, maybe this is a 2-tap type team, which, you know, in some wars that matters. So I could see that being a factor, but I can't say I love it. And then for Thing, his old passive, it stays the same as far as damage goes. And then as far as the armor, it just adds She-Hulk to the list of allies that gain the armor. So that's the rework with Fantastic Four. It's not a whole lot to it other than the Fantastic Invisible Woman getting that defense up on war defense, gaining defense up if She-Hulk is an ally. Everything else is pretty much just listing She-Hulk on there, and you know, Mr. Fantastic gets the additional attack on his ultimate. So yeah, it's a rework. Is it going to make me put him on war defense? Honestly, no, it's not. I'm not going to put these guys on war defense. I don't see myself doing it. This is going to be kind of the outro here. My personal feelings here is I am not enthusiastic about She-Hulk at all. I'm just not. I think she seems like she's got an okay kit. I think she's getting put in the game for now. I could see her eventually being put maybe with some other characters. You know, maybe the Fantastic Four will be good on defense for a couple hits, but you know, they're so good on offense. You know, people are using them with Ultron to hit some Marauders. They're using them with, you know, killing multiple different teams. They're one of the top, I'd say, 5 offensive teams in war. So you really like the versatility of them on offense. I don't necessarily like bringing them onto defense, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. I want to see more heals for a sustain on defense. So that's what I got. That's it for the Envoy as far as She-Hulk goes and the Fantastic Four upgrades. Come to the Discord like I mentioned. The link is in the description below. Comment below if you've got any thoughts. I always love to hear what I missed, what I got right, what I got wrong, all that kind of stuff. Hammer down on the like button, click the notification bell, subscription button, all that kind of widget gadget stuff. All the good times. Share with your alliance mates, all grandma, grandpa, cousins, aunts, uncle, whoever. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.